Kakadosh Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. When we're continuing with this halachot, we started mentioning this halacha with respect to Amira LeGoy, but now I'm going to give a lot of examples which are very, we're going to say in very nogea, they're very common amongst us, especially here in the diaspora. We mentioned last time that you are permitted to tell a goy to do something on Shabbat when there's a permissible way of doing it. And now if they choose to do it in a prohibited fashion, so it's permitted for you to benefit from it, and there's no problem whatsoever. So one of the examples that we gave is that, for example, let's say you live in a building, right? Or you're going to be in a hotel or in a place, and you ask the people there at the front desk, right? Or the bottom of the reception, please can you take this up to my room? Now they could take it up the stairs. There's no problem of them taking it up the stairs. Sometimes it's even quicker. However, though, they choose to take the elevator. So therefore, unless it's something very, very heavy and it's a very high floor, right? That's the criteria that Rav David Yosef gives here. Even though the Hilchot Shabbat, he wants to say that even without that, he says a little bit stricter. He wants to say that even if it's going to be on a high floor, it's already problematic. But according to Rav David Yosef, it has to be something heavy plus a high floor. But if it's not heavy, and you could take it up the stairs, and there's no problem of doing that. So therefore, the fact that they are going to use the elevator on Shabbat, there is no problem whatsoever. So you tell them, can you please take this upstairs? They're going to take it up, and it doesn't matter if they're going to use the elevator. Another one is going to be, for example, let's say here, I come and I tell the goy on Shabbat, listen, take this to my house. Now he could walk to my house just like I walk to my house. It takes 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, depends where you live, but it doesn't take much more than that. He has, and obviously there's an eruv, so he's allowed to do it, right, by car. Why? Because if he chooses to go by car instead of coming and taking the elevator, instead of coming and walking by foot, so there's no problem. Another common one is how to clean the floor. We know that a goy could come and he could go on all four, right, the way that they used to do it, right, in the Arabic countries, and they would come and they would scrub the floor, but they wouldn't need, right, to do sechita for it. They would come and take, whether it's going to be something, and they would come in like a cloth, and come and even without the water, they would come and they would brush it or whatever. They would clean it. Now, if he comes and he decides to do sponja, which means he comes and takes a mop and he wants to start squeezing, so then again, there's no problem whatsoever. This is also the psak of the Halacha Brura and also by Rav Schlesinger in the Sefer also of Ayil Mishulash, the exact same halacha. The next one is going to be, let's say you're going to be in a hotel or in a restaurant. Now they ask you, what do you want to eat? Right? Or what do you want? And now you come and you start giving them things, right, that what you want to order. So now what happens is as follows. If right now they're going to write something down, right, in order for them to remember it, it's going to be permitted. So for example, let's say you're going to a Shabbat Chatan, and in the Shabbat Chatan they're serving either chicken or meat, or you've got fish, right, Moroccan fish, or gefilte fish. Yeah, it's oxymoron. So what happens is that all of a sudden you're there and you ask them, so they ask you, what do you want? So okay, I want this. Now, again, nobody's paying, everything's already done, but they're serving two different, now the waiter, he has problems a lot of times remembering. So he has to try to remember in 1 second. There's 4 on this table of this, 3 on the other. So he comes, all of a sudden when he finishes taking the table, he pulls out a pen and a paper, and he writes down 4 and 3, table 4. So now, no. At the end of the day, the fact that he could have done it by heart, and he chooses now to write it down for his own remembrance, for him to remember, there's no problem whatsoever. Another one he comes and he says is for example, to wash the dishes. If he's going to come and he's going to wash the dishes with hot water instead of using cold water, the fact that you could have used the cold water, now he's going to use the hot water. This case is actually brought down in the Mishnah Berurah Mefurash. There's no problem whatsoever. Another one that's not brought down in the Mishnah Berurah, but is actually very interesting, is a mediach kelim. For example, let's say you tell him to wash the dishes. He could wash the dishes manually, just like you wash the dishes on Shabbat. He chooses to put everything inside of a dishwasher and then to turn it on Shabbat. If it does not make noise, right, which means that nowadays there's a lot of them which they don't make noise like in the olden days that you would hear it from across the house. So if it does not make a lot of noise, so therefore there's no problem whatsoever, right, of the goy coming and using this dishwasher. Now why do I say a lot about the noise? We know there's a machloket, Sfaradim and Ashkenazim, to do with Av Shaminta on Erev Shabbat, which means that if you come and you put something into the dryer before Shabbat and it continues going on Shabbat, according to Ashkenazim it's asur. Why is it asur? Because the noise in itself is going to be a problem. Sfaradim hold that it's mutar, even though Rav Ben Zion says that you could only do so in Shat Tzorech, in a time of need. For example, soldiers that they're coming back on Erev Shabbat and then they're leaving on Motzei Shabbat. That's the case that he gives a permission, right? But if it's not pressing need, you shouldn't do it. But here also there's a zilut of Shabbat that it doesn't look right as the proper respect of the Shabbat if you're going to have all these things, noise or things going around. Now remember that here the heter is only going to be for a mediach kelim. It's only going to be for a dishwasher because here you have a heter of washing it yourself. She cannot come and do anything else other than, meaning she cannot wash the clothing in a washer. Because since you cannot wash clothing, so she can't use a washing machine. She cannot use a dryer. She cannot use the iron to iron clothing. This is only a dishwasher that since she could do it by hand, just like you could do it by hand, now she chooses to do it by a machine, you're allowed to do so. So in all these cases that we mentioned, these are just a few examples, right, of different common occurrences that could happen in the house, that again, that you're allowed to tell the goy to do something because it's not really a milacha, and they chose to do it in a prohibited way instead of a permissible way. There's no problem of benefiting on it on Shabbat. Wonderful day.